All right, here we go. Hey,
Hump
Fish,
day. Hump day.
we absolutely we are live with our Super Bowl picks. Aiden Minks, Mitch from Cobra Kai, will join us to talk about one of the hottest shows on Netflix. The Daily Fish Hardline with our betting dojo, John Hardison, gives you the right move through Super Bowl 56. Our schmucks of the week come from Chapel Hill, and Who's Got the Swag is playing in the Super Bowl. And the Daily Fish Binge, Blockbuster, and Books goes Hollywood to give you our take on the Oscar nominees. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Daily Fish. I'm John Daly with Eric Snyder, aka Fish. We're coast to coast, coming to you from Las Vegas and Myrtle Beach. We talk sports, entertainment, and everything in between. Boy, I'm excited about tonight, Fish.
Sure, I am. I am too. Aiden's a great kid. He's a great actor. He's been doing it since he's 7 years old. And then next week we're going to get Ricky Williams on. We're going to get him on our regular Tuesday slot. And he had to rearrange his schedule because he thought, maybe doing the Super Bowl week, he's on Radio Row and all that stuff. But guess what? We got one of the stars of Cobra Kai, the #1 show on Netflix, and he kicks ass.
Absolutely. All right. You're going to hear from him really soon. All right. Here's what we're grinding on in the daily grind first. The Beijing Olympics are the lowest watched since 1988, projected to be maybe the lowest ever. Fish, here are my reasons why people are not watching. Americans, they're getting back to work. The Olympics is competing with the Super Bowl, all the stuff going on there, the time difference from the US, the attention to the Russian invasion or potential Russian invasion of Ukraine, more Russian doping questions coming up now, and questions about the autocratic Chinese regime, and then maybe the perception that Chinese athletes are getting favoritism from Olympic judges. What are you seeing?
I'm all about over and unders because we're in the prop bet business this week, and I'm thinking the #1 place on the planet that provides mail order brides is Ukraine. If Russia goes into Ukraine, a lot of my friends are FUCK'd. I'm telling you right now, that's what we're looking at. Back to the Olympics. I have to admit, my wife and I are huge Winter Olympic fans. We watched an hour coverage, and bad for us. We should watch more of it. But they're not having any kind of going out they can't go out in Beijing. They're stuck. The reporters that are covering the game are in the United States. There's no buzz about it, and you and I predicted that before the Olympics. It's very sad.
Yeah, honestly. So we'll actually check on it next week, give you the idea on the rating, see if anything changed, but I don't think it will. All right, next, baseball owners and the Players Association, they are grinding us down here. Preseason could be cut or canceled, but Fish, the question is, will it delay the MLB season?
I'm gonna I'm gonna say no. I think they're gonna cut the exhibition games. They call them exhibition. I call them preseason games down by half, John. But like A Rod said, I watch Major League Baseball Network religiously, and every single pundit on there says they can't be that stupid. But John, do you think they could be that stupid?
I think they could, but I agree with you. I think they're going to get the games in for the full regular season, and they'll get a few of the preseason games in. But they're just both sides are being stubborn, and all they're doing is they're closing out the fans, and they're actually being very stupid. So, but yeah, I think so. I think there will be a full season. Whether the fans are going to be okay with that, I'm not really certain. So, all right, Fish. Moving on. Hey, do you have some breaking news on Tom Brady? Is that right?
Yeah, we have breaking news. John Hardison, if you're still in the queue, take a look at this. He retired last week, and that's been some of the reason why people aren't watching Olympics. Because whatever this guy does goes to every social media hit and goes on every single network. And he's into his TB12 and his diet. He's into his crypto. But the guy went to McDonald's, and he had a Big Mac, quarter pounder with cheese. He had the fries, and he had an apple pie and a chocolate shake. Look what he looked like 2 hours later. I mean, wow. I mean, I understand you were really strict to your diet, Tom, but my God. I mean, so look, I love McDonald's. I'll eat anytime. I'll drive by one and get a smell, and hopefully they'll sponsor this show. But look what something like that does to you, man, if you just have it one time and don't have it for 30 years.
I just got a note. They said the Big Mac just said we're done with Daily Fish, no more. So we're not going to sponsor you anymore, even though I don't think they had been sponsoring us. So anyway, I hope Tom does get a little exercise in, though. All right,
Oof.
next, All-Star games. Really, the Pro Bowl in Las Vegas last Sunday was a joke and an embarrassment. Now we both hate All-Star games, so I'll let you go ahead. Go for it, Fish. You talk about it.
I'll take the Pro Bowl. You could take the rest of them because I feel the same way you do. It was an embarrassment to the National Football League, an embarrassment to charge 56,000 fans, it's a big audience in Las Vegas, to pay the lowest price ticket was $75 to watch a flag football game. It's an embarrassment that the announcers on ESPN said, well, the guys, they made an agreement they don't want to hurt anyone. But they're getting 80,000 a person. That's fine. I'm going to show you a video of what Sean Taylor did in the 2006 Pro Bowl to Brian Mormon.
A lot of it.
Okay, you got to look at this.
Brian Mormon is going to take it on the run, and he's going to come up short. Sean Taylor. Phil, you talked in the first half. Remember Reggie Wayne got out of Sean Taylor. Brian Mormon going back out onto the field, and that is why. Congratulated Sean Taylor. I don't know if it was a fake. It might be he just decided to run with it, but Sean Taylor came.
Wow. That's actually a little dangerous when you're not expecting it.
We talked about this last week, okay? Chris Carter said that Jerry Rice played in the Super Bowl, and the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowls back then. Goes to Hawaii. He spends 5 days in the training room because he didn't want to disappoint the fans, and they went there and they played a football game. I don't want to get – they should just stop the Pro Bowl. What do you think about the other three sports, John?
I agree. I've seen the NBA All-Star game. It was boring. I've been to the baseball game. I mean, not that anyone's going to get seriously hurt there, but to me, they don't mean anything. I mean, for a while there, baseball did mean a little bit. If one league won, then that league got, they got the home field advantage in the World Series, which I don't think was fair, but at least it made the game worthwhile for something. But I agree with you. Now, the college All-Star games for football, I think they're worth something because those are kids that are really trying to show off something. So it's like an audition. But these, I would agree with you. Let's get rid of them. It's not worth it, and I think it's dangerous for, for the players. If you're going to do a skills thing where they can throw footballs into walls or something like that. To me, that's what I would do.
Say one more thing. So the NBA has an All-Star game, right? The three-point contest and the slam dunk contest get better ratings than the All-Star game.
Yeah.
The most watched baseball event of the season, more than any other game. You're gonna hit me. You know what I'm talking about? The home run derby. You're right.
Absolutely.
That's what people. The home run derby is huge. On Monday before the game, there's no other sports. Does baseball like that? No. They're embarrassed about that too, but they'll take the ratings.
Yeah. Celebrate the game. I mean, they got to find a way to do it. So anyway, hopefully we've helped them. And finally, on the grind, Las Vegas is not the reason people get into trouble, including athletes, when they visit there. It's got to be something more. Fish, you're there more than I am. Go ahead, hit us with some stuff there.
It's horseshit. I mean, Plaxico Burress from the Giants was in a club at 4:30 in the morning. Shot himself in the foot.
That wasn't in Vegas.
It wasn't in Vegas. It was in New York. Other guys are in strip clubs all over the United States, open to 4 in the morning, getting in trouble. All right. And you know what? Who's ever gotten in trouble in Las Vegas, if it's 3 Raiders, there's still 80 guys in that roster, including the practice squad. So the bottom line is you can get in trouble at any time, anywhere. Don't blame Las Vegas, okay? Alvin Kamara got into an incident. He got into an incident at 5:30 at night. Big deal. If there's bars that are, we don't know the full details of that, and I think he's going to be exonerated of the whole thing. Don't blame Vegas because we're a 24-hour town. I'm not defending Las Vegas. If you want to go out at 4 o'clock in the morning, you can get in trouble. But trust me, in every other city, big city, there's places to go 4 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to find it.
You're going to find trouble. And also in Las Vegas has got safeguards there. They got people to call. Yeah. They got rides to take you home. So, just remember that. You're right. Absolutely. All right. And that is the Daily Grind. Questions or comments during the live show, use the chat box here or email us at dalyfish1@gmail.com. You can post to Facebook at daily.fish.5. Better yet, record yourself short, tight, and horizontal on your smartphone. Tell us what you're thinking and send it to dalyfish1@gmail.com. All right, it's time for some binge blockbusters and books, but a little different hook today. Academy Award nominations went out yesterday. So, Fish, what stands out for you?
A few weeks ago, as far as my blockbusters, I did a movie called King Richard. And I said Will Smith will be nominated because he was so brilliant playing Richard Williams, the father of Serena and Venus Williams, and coaching their career. You learn that this guy's worked 2 jobs and dedicated his whole life. The portrayal of this guy, Will Smith, and he had Richard Williams in his ear the whole time. And he said, it's tough when the guy's alive. Sort of like what Dennis Quaid did when he had he nailed the role. I thought it was tremendous. Okay. Dune got 10 nominations for just cinematography, special effects. I like a lot of it. You go, and I'll tell you who I thought was snubbed.
I thought the Power of the Dog is a true film lover's film. Portrays the U.S. West in the 1920s on a cattle farm. Benjamin Cumberbatch he's so cruel in this. He is so brilliant as an actor. What's interesting is Jane Campion could be the second woman to win Best Director. She's up for that now. And here's what's really cool about it. When you watch this, this is an American Western shot in, wait for it, New Zealand. It's produced by Netflix. Could be the first time Netflix actually gets an Oscar. So I would say take a look at that. I think it's if you haven't seen it, I would go watch that.
For great things about it. I have a snub, and I'll go first. You go second. I think that Tom Hanks played a role called Finch. It's sort of like his post-apocalyptic version of Castaway, and he's the last guy, and he builds a robot because he has a last dog. So you're acting with yourself. It was so brilliant. He was snubbed. How about you?
Yeah, it's tough to snub Tom Hanks, isn't it? I'd say the biggest snub for me was Ben Affleck in Tender Bar, but also in The Last Duel. And I thought he was really, really good in both of those. And I feel bad for Ben. I think he's a good actor. I think he's an actor who's really beginning to come into his acting own right now. So I would say those right there. And we should also tell you that a reminder that in future Daily Fish episodes, we're going to be bringing on Heidi's Hollywood to get even more insight into Hollywood and all your binge watching and everything else, including the Oscars, March 27th. So stay tuned for that. We have some cool stuff planned for you, and that is Binge Blockbusters and Books. All right, now it's time for something fishy. What are you looking at, Fish? You going to take your glasses off for this one?
I will, but I have to show an icon first, and I'm kind of blind, but I will, because when I rant, I could just talk. I can multitask with glasses off. Ada Minks, who's our guest in a little while, he knows what goes on in the bar business. He's in a bar, so you hear all kinds of stuff in a bar. All right. I cannot believe how many people walk in my bar. I'm going to piss a lot of people off right now. And tell me that roller derby and professional wrestling is real. And I try to tell them. I went in '87. I saw Hulk Hogan fight Andre the Giant. I was 2 rows back in the sports arena. Still to this day, the loudest sporting event I've ever been. I've been to 1,000 football games, basketball games. I've never heard an arena. When Hogan does this, and comes in, it was crazy. Okay. But then I got a video to show you. This is what happens in these things that shows me that it's not wrestling. I'm trying to get to my audience at my bar and educate people. Take a look at some of these moves right here.
Big Show! And Braun Strowman looking to waste a little time. He's going to go right after the world's largest athlete. And Strowman and Show getting at it right in the aisleway.
How many superstars have you ever seen run toward the Big Show?
Well, Braun Strowman just did. He threw Big Show right into the barricade. These guys had a hell of a collision a bit ago, and now Big Show and Braun Strowman again.
That's not real?
Wrestling. Okay, if you ever wrestled in high school, and I have friends that did, that's not wrestling. Everyone knows what wrestling is. You pin a guy. Okay, I don't. You know what it is? And the WrestleManias are getting 60,000 people. I don't know. I don't have a real elegant way of saying this. Are we that stupid to think that this is what? Okay, one guy walks in my bar. Ada knows this guy, and I'll point him out. I'm not going to mention his name. Guy walks in the bar, and I said to the guy, if you take a metal chair and you just hit someone on the head, like Randy Macho Man Savage did, to rouse the guy with the snake, Jake the Snake Roberts, 20 times, bam, 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 you're going to kill him. That's not wrestling. The roller derby, they go around, they beat the crap out of each other, they throw them out of the ring, they toss them into the stands. It's you know what they are? They're great actors, and they're great acrobats, and they're very, very good athletically. I don't know. I want people to call. I want people to give me the comment box, because teach me how this is wrestling. John, I need your take on this, because you grew up with the culture I did, watching wrestling with the Freddie Blassies and the Iron Sheik, with Hogan. Look at John Cena. I'm watching a show called Peacemaker right now with John Cena. He's great. Extra. Rock. Dwayne Rock, John, extra. These wrestlers are becoming great actors in themselves. They start out doing this. It's a travesty.
Yeah, No, it's not wrestling. And to be honest with you, I never watched it. To me, it was kind of like I knew what it was. But you make a good point. There's a lot of wrestlers who have actually had pretty good acting careers, and I never put
Sure.
two and two together. But you're absolutely right. It makes a ton of sense. Yeah, no, I agree with you. All right, that is something fishy. Still ahead, our schmuck of the week, along with who's got the swag. Time now for the Daily Fish Hardlines. Joining us is John Hardison from the podcast The Cost of Winning, focusing on fantasy sports and sports betting. Hardline, welcome back. Any big games this week?
Just a few. Down in Inglewood, even though they'll call it Los Angeles because they'll take all the credit.
That's true. All right. So before you dive into your picks, Fish and I are going to give our Super Bowl picks, obviously without the spread here. Here's mine. I'm going to go with the Bengals in an upset. Maybe I see Joe Burrow as the next Tom Brady coming into his own. So I'm going that way. Fish, who are you going with?
I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams. My hometown, not my team, but I'm going with the Rams. I just think the Rams right now are built to do this now. And I think I got to go with Hardline. Hardline's a Stafford guy. So What do you think, Staff? What do you think, Hard?
Oh, this is a hard game. You know what? Defenses win championships. I got to go with the Rams. They're at home. A great defense. And honestly, the Bengals have been a little questionable to me. And I don't know if you guys want me to keep going or you guys want to, give your picks right now.
No, go for it.
No, just gave the Bengals are a little bit questionable to me in the sense that most of their points have come from Evan McPherson. It hasn't been Joe Burrow. It hasn't been Jamar Chase. And so if you're going to get into a game of inches with the Rams and your only thing you could do is kick field goals, that's going to be a problem right there. I do think that I do think that Cincinnati will cover the 4. I think that they'll cover the +4. But I do think the Rams are going to end up winning this game.
Okay. So if you're taking a bet, what are you seeing? Because I think it's is it about 4 points now?
It was about 4.5. So depending on your book, I would take the Bengals to cover. I do think that they'll make this an interesting game. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout, as a lot of people are thinking right now. But I think at the end of the day, if you're going to bet money line, I would bet the Rams in this game. It's too good of a situation for them to be in, not to get this away. And plus, it's good for the NFL when LA, a huge market like that, wins.
Absolutely. Yep.
Prop bets, big. I saw two. Listen to another show that really intrigued me. One was it's 50-1 that one player can score 8 points. Jamar Chase did it last week or 2 weeks ago. He got the touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So I like that. And I think it's over 1.5 for interceptions. And, Stafford he's thrown an interception in most playoff games. And Burrow threw one against, I believe, Kansas City or fumbled. So give me your top prop bets. Those are the ones I'm looking at.
So I kind of delved a little deep in here. The best one I really like is total quarterback sacks over 4.5. With that Rams defense, especially with Aaron Donald, you got to take that. The second one that I really, really like is will Ramsey have an interception? And right now it's going is plus 450. And I just think that, they move him around, even though he's going to be on Chase. I think that he's going to sneak an interception this game. I think it's a sneaky good one. Also, one I find really good is will Joe Mixon have over 16.5 rushes? And he's averaging 17. So it's going to be right on that thing. And I think they're going to get to a point if they're behind or if they're ahead, knowing Taylor, I think he's going to try and run a little bit. And the last one I'm going to give you guys right now. And this is one that I think it's his time to shine. He shined when the Rams played the Bucks. He's been a quiet guy most of the season. Will Van Jefferson have a touchdown? I'm going to put money on that and say yes at plus 295. I think it's just going to be a guy that's random that's going to get that touchdown. I think it's him.
Wow. How about 2
that usually happens.
Sure. One more, John. How about a 2-point conversion plus 190? There's going to be a 2-point conversion probably in this game. So
absolutely. I got to believe that's going to happen with, looking at the way Matt Gay is kicked. He hasn't been as consistent as McPherson. He missed one against was it 1 or 2 against San Francisco? I believe he missed one the week before against the Bucks. So I would bet, and that's a very good point, Fish, that there is going to be a successful 2-point conversion.
Okay.
this game.
I want to change gears a little bit and go to the NBA. John, you want to add to that, or
I'm just going to say, what about a missed point after?
You know what? These guys have been automatic for field goals. I got a feeling though somebody's gonna miss one. I got a feeling that if anyone I'm gonna say, I think there's less pressure on Matt Gay, even if he misses it, knowing that they got his back. I'm gonna guess McPherson is the one with all the pressure that might miss one.
Wow, and he's been Money McPherson. So
yeah.
I want to get to the NBA because after this, when we start doing our next shows, we got to get into the ESPN. And I watch all the morning shows like we all do, and I get all some information. They're talking Super Bowl week. They're in LA, and instead of talking about the Brian Flores thing, which is great story,
right.
and the Super Bowl, Stephen A. Smith is in a straitjacket because the Nets have lost 9 in a row, and the Lakers can't figure out what the hell to do with their team. And we all know that probably some of these guys picked the Nets and the Lakers to be in the finals. Now, we are getting close to 60 games in the season. We've got 25 left. Right. John, do you got a quick fix for the Nets or the Lakers? Or what do you – give me a prediction. What do you think is going to happen the rest of the way with these two teams?
You know what? Here's the thing about the Nets, and I've talked about this before on a cost of winning and with you before. There's no one on that team I feel that takes accountability when things go wrong, right? Like we all know that Durant's going to miss time every year because of a knee. It's consistent. He missed about 2 weeks every year, right? Kyrie with his vaccination stance, that's his business. But again, that hinders your team and being able to play those games at home. And then Harden is just Harden. He's just a guy, kind of the best way I can describe James Harden is kind of like Dennis Rodman, a guy that marches to his own beat, does what he wants, kind of shows up when he wants. I didn't have them winning it this year. I didn't have them in the championship this year. I think the only fix is, and I don't think that you're going to see it on trade deadline, even though they're having these conversations, is moving James Harden come the offseason, unless you have a stellar, and I know there's talks, but unless there's a stellar offer, I don't think that Morey is going to end up or they're going to make the move on that for Simmons. In regards to the Lakers, this is kind of what you get. I mean, you got a lot of guys that were injury prone. LeBron misses a lot of time throughout the season. Anthony Davis is known as a glass brow. Russ has just been inconsistent in his shooting since he was in Oklahoma. This is what you put together. So I think the biggest issue that you're going to see in the offseason with the Lakers, I would not be surprised if they moved on from Rob Pelinka. I would not be surprised if they decide to bring in a different guy. And I think right now they're trying to figure out what can they do with their cap. Is there anyone that they can move without getting a lot of blowback that could help them win? And I don't think with the main 3 guys that they have in LA, they can afford to retool that roster. You're going to get a lot of blowback. And Fish, you're an LA guy. You know this. When the Lakers are good and great, everybody's a Lakers fan. When they're bad, it's like, hey, don't answer the door. Just let it keep ringing.
Hey, Kings and the Pacers made a fairly big deal, swapping Sabonis for Halliburton and Hield. What do you make of that?
Smart move for the Pacers. The Pacers aren't going anywhere. It's a complete rebuild. They needed a young guard, especially one that's as talented as Halliburton. The only thing I don't understand is where the Kings are going in this direction, because every year it seems like a rebuild with the Kings. The biggest thing that I saw that I can make sense of is it was for cap reasons and being able to shave it off because they got rid of Buddy Hield's contract. We had an extra year compared to Sabonis because of what Hield was making. It doesn't make sense to keep him. But in the long term, I don't see the Kings getting any better. I think that this is, Sabonis is probably going to ask for a trade next year, see if he can get traded again. But, I mean, Mitch Richmond said it best when Don Nelson was in his room when he said, please don't tell me it's the Kings. If you're going to trade me, don't tell me it's the Kings. Anyone but the Kings.
Okay, Hardline. Now we're heading into the home stretch, the last 25 games of the season. Give me one team in each conference that we're not talking about that's going to make a run and a deep run into the playoffs.
In the East, it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think J.B. Bickerstaff is going to go ahead and win Coach of the Year. You can't tell me with that roster, what they had, that they would be sitting at 3rd place in the East right now. No one had them doing this well. They're young. They're aggressive. They play good defense. Kevin Love has settled into his role coming off of the bench. I think that they'll make a run. I still think they'll fall short, but it's a hell of a season so far. If we're talking about the Western Conference, the biggest team probably I would say is just how well Phoenix has kept pace with Golden State. I mean, a lot of people had them written off at the beginning of the year. They thought this was going to be Golden State's year. Right now, none of the teams in LA are really looking that great, but congratulations to Phoenix being that team, and especially Monty Williams, coaching the All-Star team this year. Everybody kind of thought maybe they might back in as a 4 or 5 seed, and they're right there, 1-2.
All right. So next week, we'll probably talk a little college basketball as well, since we're getting down to the end of that. And we will check and see how everybody did on the Super Bowl. And that is the Daly Fish Hardline with John Hardison, the Cost of Winning podcast. You can find him here with us, but also on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcast as well. Hardline, thanks a lot, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Always a pleasure, guys. See you next week. Let's see what the Rams do.
Absolutely.
Fish basket on me, buddy. Later.
And thanks for tuning in, folks. Daly Fish is live on Facebook Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific. Again, we're doing it different today. It's Wednesday, so don't worry. We explained that. You can see us on Facebook at the Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and also the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. We air on DBNA Television on Roku and Amazon Fire. We stream 24/7 on the DBNA Television website. You can follow us and like us on Facebook at daily.fish.5 and subscribe to us on YouTube at the Daly Fish Podcast. All right, now it's time for our Schmuck of the Week. And who has been schmucky this week, Fish?
Let's go to college basketball. I don't have an icon for you. It's going to be my voice. And I want you live there. Okay. You're in that triumvirate of North Carolina State, North Carolina, and Duke. The epitome of college basketball, the heaven. All right. Tar Heel fans, North Carolina Tar Heel fans hate Duke more than they love life themselves. And in my opinion, one of the classiest, best coaches, Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, was the last time he's going to be in the Dean Smith Center for a game. And they booed him so egregiously and so loud, you could see it emotionally got to him. So I didn't want to put a North Carolina icon on there because all the fans are like that. But those fans are really brutal to him. And it's part of the game. We get it. You can boo all you want. But you know what? They're idiots. I'm sorry. This is a class act. He never did anything against you or called your mother a twat or did anything like that. I love this guy as a person. Tom Izzo, him, all these guys that are classic icons in college basketball. You deserve, a good tour when you're walking out. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I thought it was disgraceful what happened. And, and again, I'm more of an NC State fan more than anything else, but there is a lot of animosity up there. And it's kind of like, when it comes to the end, you got to give the guy a lot of credit. He's got a lot more national titles than some of the Carolina people had. So, and stayed there for a long time. But I agree with you. I think they are definitely the schmuck of the week. All right, let's see who's got the swag for this week. Fish, who you toasting?
Okay. This is the second time. Remember we did it. We did this guy before. I have 2 swags today. Actually 3. So bear with us. This guy put $100,000 of diamonds in his teeth. I thought that was cute. Well, now this is the real guy. This is the real person. This is OBJ. What a great trade. Talk about a guy that's really benefiting from a trade midseason from Cleveland to the Rams. So you know what he does? He did an amazing gesture for a man fighting cancer. He has spent all of his time texting. He flew the guy to the Super Bowl. The guy's name is 43-year-old Dominic Tafuri. He's a former MMA fighter and current officer with the Essex County Department of Corrections in New Jersey, right? And Odell's got him bling. He's taking care of his GoFundMe page. He's on everything. He's even got this guy involved, okay? Aaron Donald, and this is Aaron Donald and Tafuri hanging out. Take him to Gucci. The guy's not doing well cancer-wise, and the Rams have stepped up and made the end of this guy's life. Let's hope he pulls through. Just gratifying. It's very, very touching that Odell took that time to reach out to this guy and be sort of a mentor to him in the time when the guy, he got cancer. What can you do? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here's my second one. Yeah. You love that, John? Okay. You're going to love this even better. So you asked about alumni. I have Tony Visick on. Tony Visick and I, this is Super Bowl. Super Bowl. Look at that great icon. You got the money and you got girls. Aiden, I want you to see something if you're in the queue there, but this is the 7th fail. This is where Eric Snyder and Tony Visick went 3 nights a week from 1983 to 87. It's a late night, open all night almost, where you can maybe get in trouble. It's not in Las Vegas. Strip club, okay? It's going to be in Madhouse in the build to the big game. This is the hottest strip club in the Hollywood area for over 43 years. Its manager, Leo Betancourt, said, we're going to have 100 girls a night. We're going to be super packed. We're going to be ready to take care of everyone's need. Quote, it's going to be busy the whole week before Super Bowl, and it's going to be busy the week after Super Bowl, okay? If you're a dancer and you have any kind of If you have a reputation or not and any kind of experience, please apply. John, what do you think? You got any legs in your list?
I think we're going to get ourselves in trouble if we went there. That's for sure.
Look at Hardline. Hardline's raising his hand in the queue.
and poor Aiden. I mean, poor Aiden's got to listen to all this stuff. Holy mackerel! All right.
Oh, poor Aiden. He has more. He probably has more. Forget it. We'll get to him soon and give him our spiel.
All right, and now we've got our drink of the week. We're going to be toasting our Who's Got the Swag. And Fish, before we do that, let's bring in our guest Aiden Minks from Cobra Kai to toast with us. Aiden, welcome to the show. Welcome to Daly Fish.
Of course, thanks for having me.
And Fish, what are we drinking here? What are we toasting with?
You know, I'm thinking about karate, and he's in the dojo of Cobra. He's not in the Cobra Kai dojo. He's in this. He's at the other senseis, and I'm thinking about what different moves. I'm thinking about wrestling, pile driving. Pile driving, karate, throwing people, driving people to the ground. A screwdriver. The most common drink there is. It's vodka and it's orange juice, and you'd be surprised how popular it is at Shucks Tavern and other bars around the nation. So we toast to Cobra Kai, the great series. We toast to all the wrestling fans that are pissed off at me, and you see the comments will be coming. And we toast to this young man who started acting when he was 7 years old. Way to go, Aiden.
Wow. Here we go. Cheers. Hey, toast. Cheers. Good stuff. Okay, hey, folks. The Daily Fish Drink of the Week is sponsored by Shucks Tavern in Vegas. Great seafood and drinks in 2 locations. Head to Shucks Tavern on North Durango on the northwest side of town, where Fish is overnight. And Aiden is there sometimes too, working as well. All you have to do is say Daily Fish Podcast. You get a free drink. Do it the next day, a free appetizer. That's Shucks Tavern. Check out Shucks Tavern on Facebook. All right, we're just getting started. We're going to talk to Aiden and about everything he's been doing on Cobra Kai, one of the top shows on Netflix as well. But first, hey, you need a great golf getaway? The Myrtle Beach Golf Trail has dozens of courses along the Carolina coast. Set up an entire trip for yourself, your family, or a bunch of friends. The site is myrtlebeachgolftrail.com. You can play there year-round. A little chilly today, but, man, it was great out here. All right, we have Aiden here, folks. You've seen him on Cobra Kai. You've seen him in the movie Ted, starring Mark Wahlberg and Giovanni Ribisi. Aiden was known as Angus Chestnut on Ant Farm. He has also co-starred in Hangover 2. Aiden, again, welcome to the show. And what's cool is the fact that you actually work at Shucks at certain times, even though you've got a great Hollywood career. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So basically my mom was friends with one of the other managers at Shucks, and she would just go there all the time. They're like, Aiden really liked cooking. He always wanted to be a cook. I'm usually just waiting around for my next day on set or next audition or whatever. So most of the time I am just staying at home doing nothing. So they're like, all right, Shucks is literally a 7-minute drive from my house. So yeah, I got hooked up with a line cook job. Yeah, doing great.
Okay. I have the real scoop on that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You all know I'm bragging. I've been a bartender for 41 years in April. Okay. There's rumors out there that they're doing a remake or actually a sequel to Cocktail from Tom Cruise in 1989. And Aiden's going to take over that role, and he needs a technical advisor to teach him how to throw bottles and be a bartender. I think Fish should be hired to be a technical advisor to this young little stud. And you know what, buddy? You'd be great reprising that role that Tom Cruise did. It's a great movie from 1989, and it really shows the bartending, the light that we do, our business in a decent light. And if you're up for it, buddy, I'm for hire.
Of course, yeah. No, yeah. I just turned 21, so I need to start practicing too. Yeah, need another sensei to get me trained with it.
Yeah, when he walks into place, I always say, "You're now in the Fish Dojo." He bows to me. It's great.
I always bow when I come into work. And like, oh, there you are.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
There you go.
All right, let's. You know what? You've been doing this Hollywood thing since you're 7 years old. I mean, you're a child actor, and you've kept it going along. And John just read your resume. Have you ever been starstruck by anyone you've ever worked with? When you get on a set and you say, "Wow, I'm working with Bradley Cooper in The Hangover. I'm working with Wahlberg and Giovanni Ribisi and Ted, and now William Zabka and Ralph Macchio are icons for 40 years." Do you ever get starstruck by them? And tell us some advice some of these big stars have given you.
Yeah, I would what is it? On on TED, when I did TED, I was definitely starstruck, like seeing like Mila Kunis and
Oh,
Mark Wahlberg and Seth MacFarlane, definitely. But yeah, they were really cool people. And my dad was Giovanni Ribisi in that, and he actually told me like, well, he didn't give me advice. He just told me that like he likes that how down to earth and how real we are. Like we weren't like fake Hollywood people with the stage mom where it's like, oh yeah, we're just so happy to be here, like all that. So like we were just like really like casual and nice. He's like, that's good, like that's a good thing, like yeah. But on this last season of Cobra Kai, like definitely because after I got the job, I watched all the movies really quick so I could like, because I only watched Jaden Smith ones. And I'm like, well, hold on, none of this makes sense like together. And they're like, oh no, there's originals you need to watch. I'm like, oh crap. So then I watched all 3 of them, and then I actually watched them before we shot season 4. So when Silver came onto set, I was a fan of his, and then like I was a huge fan of the 3rd movie. So when he came onto set, I was just like, oh whoa, it's him! Like, so yeah.
Well, what you're doing is you're bringing to a film that John and I watched when we were much younger. Man, we were your age. We were your age when basically the film came out.
Yeah.
He does a great job in this thing, and it reminds us of what a great film and a great actually series of films it was. And Silver, played by Thomas Ian Griffith, is great. And like we talked in rehearsal, this show brings back characters from the movie, and they ingratiate it in a way that just adds to the storyline. And you're perfect. Let me ask you this real quick. Some of the guys, like Jacob Bertrand is one of my favorite characters, plays Hawk. You know, you got Zolo Magera plays Miguel. Yeah. Do you hang out with these guys, off the set? Have you made some good friends from this thing?
Yeah, no, like we're all like really great friends. That's the thing I love most about this set, is that it's not like other sets where it's like it's a second family. We all love each other so much. It's like, no, we're really genuinely like good friends. My first day on the set, me and Khalil, he plays Chris, like my counterpart buddy in the show. It was like our first day on set. We were hanging out, and then Sholo and Jacob walk up to us, and then they're like, oh, do you guys like Monopoly? And I personally loved Monopoly. I play it all the time. I do the iPad version alone, whatever. But yeah, and so I was like, yeah, I love Monopoly. So they picked us up from the hotel. Like they drove, like because they're series regular, they got their car shipped out there or whatever. But yeah, so then they so like we were in a hotel, we had to get Ubers and stuff. So they drove up to us. They picked us up at the hotel. We went out to dinner, and then we went back to their hotel, and we stayed up till like 6 a.m. playing one game of Monopoly. So we're all really good friends after. Yeah.
Tell me there was money involved in that one game, because
no. No,
okay.
Real money. Like the first hour, and he was just like hanging out the rest of the time. He's like, I don't get this. Like,
who won?
Jacob. He's very competitive, but he's very tries to win.
From my experience, and if there's a show and everybody's good friends, it means there's great bloopers. Do you have any great bloopers?
Yeah. There's I think on our because we made DVD ones, because like we're streamed, we're on Netflix, but we actually made DVDs too, and I think those had some bloopers. But one of my favorite, it was more of a planned blooper, because like what they did is there was one part where all the Cobra Kais are having a stare down with the Miyagis, and like that's all it was. It was like super. They're like, up, we need complete silence for the scene, and so we're all just like like mad dogging each other, like looking at each other, and all of a sudden, we already did a couple of those takes, so we're just used to like the very calm, super quiet the whole time. And at the end of one of the takes, all the Miyagis just go, ah! And just charge at us, and we just start. The camera's like on us, and we're all just sitting on the couch, and they're all standing looking at us, and they all like charge at us, and you just see me and Jacob go and like lift our knees like up into our chest, and we're like, oh shit, like. Yeah, so we have fun days.
Cool.
Sure you do. I'm more interested in where your life's going to go because you're a good-looking 21-year-old kid who's been doing this business. Your mom's in the business. Your dad's, your family's in this business, and you know everything that where it could lead to. Now we have social media.
Yeah.
So you have an Instagram account. You probably are familiar with Snapchat and TikTok and Facebook and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's got to be, and we're getting comments. Is this kid single? What's his story? You don't have to say what you are. There's got to be 25 or 30-year-old women all after you right now, man. And John and I never had that when we were 21, but we were on TV either. John had it. I didn't.
Not to limit.
You have to have your Instagram account has to be blown up. Am I right?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of like friends' moms who are like extra, like, "Oh, you're so cute."
If my grandfather was alive, he would say, "Be careful, young man. Sometimes the little head talks to the big head, and the big head doesn't listen. God it! So just be careful." All right, your mom will be proud of you on that.
It's good. It's good advice.
Hey, Aiden, seriously, any aspirations? And you're young, but any aspirations of getting behind the camera, maybe directing or writing? Have you ever thought about that in your future in this business? Yeah.
Like I did want to get into writing. Like when I was a little kid, I actually like middle schoolish, I wrote a script, but it was mostly based off of like everything that I was like interested in at the time. So like I was playing this one like assassin game. I was watching like a lot of pirate shows. So like I sort of just like mixed those two together. But like I took a lot of ideas from both of them and I basically just like plagiarized it. And it was just like, all right, this isn't like, it was a fun script. It was a fun idea, but like, yeah, it was just like these Renaissance guys are helping out Leonardo DiCaprio. They get struck by lightning. It sends them into the future, but just to the pirate age. So they got like Renaissance gear, but they're in the pirate age, and yeah, just like a bunch of like they just go on adventure from there. Yeah, so
okay, going back to Cobra Kai because everyone would comment on Cobra Kai. Tell us how much training you had to put in by technical advisors and how much you actually knew, because you look really good in those karate scenes and you're athletic in it. So obviously someone taught you, or did you already know it?
Yeah, like it was actually a coincidence. I like was just doing kickboxing. So like I was like, yeah, I just started like these kickboxing classes. I was doing that for like a couple months, and then I got put into, and then I got the part for Cobra Kai. And then in the middle of that, like when we would go on set, they didn't actually have any like official training that they needed us to do, but there would be like training days before set. So like certain times of the week, or even just like days before we have a fight scene, we had this giant room we would go into. There was like pads all over the floor. And it's just like a normal class. We all have a warm up. We're all like lined up, and they come down like the row with like, all right, left, right, left, right, left, right with the mitts. And then after that, we'll break up into our groups. Like if I have a fight with Chris, I'll go fight him in this corner and we'll practice our moves. And then same thing with like the other characters. Like we'll all just like break up into our groups and practice our fights like separately. So like we don't get that much time to train for a fight, but like it is easy to train for the fights because like it's just like the camera angles and the movements. But for the end of season shoots, we'll have like a oneer where it's just no cuts all the way through. Like that's what people love the most and we're like most excited about is like in season 1 and season 2 and 3 we have like these big oneer fights where just we start the camera and we're just swinging it left to right. There's no cuts in between. We're showing this fight leads into this fight, and now we're watching this fight. And it's really cool how they do it.
See, I just learned something. So if you had a handicap, and it's all about Super Bowl week, if you had to have off camera, sort of like, did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
You remember the scene when Brad Pitt, his character, he's fighting Bruce Lee character and he kicks his ass?
Yeah.
Who would you handicap if William Zabka had to fight Ralph Macchio? Just, it's off camera. There's no money. There's a couple of dollars involved. Who's a better athlete?
Gosh. I don't know. I feel like William would win because he does like, just like, he looks like he's got a bit more stock to him. He's got a bit more like meat on him. It's like, I don't know. I feel, but like, Yeah. I feel like William could probably win the fight. Yeah.
You know what I would take? I would take Jacob Burton. I would take Hawk. That kid has built up his upper body. If you notice his maturation, you're all like in pretty good shape. He can kick anyone's ass on that set. And just an addendum, I know that your social media is blowing up. If you get any 70-year-old women that are rich that want to maybe sponsor this show, send them our way. They might think you're cute, but send them to the old schmucks over here because, I'm going to teach you how to bartend for your career and for Tom Cruise's role, okay? So if you have any old as a New York, any older broad, you have my text and this and that. Hey,
Sounds like
have you seen any movie? Hey, buddy, we love your energy. We love the fact we get young people on, and you got such a great future ahead. Have you seen any movies that are nominated for the Academy Award, and do you have any predictions?
No, I actually haven't gotten into any of the recent movies. No, the most recent movie I just saw was Jackass Forever, but yeah.
I don't think that got nominated.
You mentioned Cobra Kai in the middle of it. Like they're all just out there. Oh, I love Cobra Kai. Like, oh, that was like it was awesome to see in theaters. But yeah.
Yes, that's great. So
Let me ask you this: since we talked about shucks, are you still interested in cooking?
Yeah. I've always just loved cooking, just like growing up with it. Yeah.
What's the best thing you make?
I'd say the best thing I make is just like a classic ribeye steak, but my favorite thing, like creatively to make, would be like it's a fried catfish with plum sauce. This cool like recipe I like got, and just like you cube up like a whole plum, and then when you put it in the pan and you're stirring it around, it just dissolves, like the peel and everything, like it just dissolves into liquid. So like you just stir it around in the pan, you heat it up, you toss in some chives, a little bit of butter. And I think that was it for the sauce. And then you just batter a catfish, fry it up, and like I like catfish because it's like just a soft piece of meat.
Yep.
And just that in the sauce, and it's just so good.
Cool.
I got a funny story. So Aiden gets there and he starts preparing himself. He's sitting with his station behind the line, and I've always said to him, I want you to take that knife and make believe you're a method actor and use it like Robert De Niro or Al Pacino would. So he's doing this and this and that. And I see this other cook named Lem, and he goes, what do you say to him? What does this mean? And I said, watch every one of his actions. Watch how precise he is with the cutting. So Lem's looking at him. He takes the knife, doing the same thing. I mean, so Shucks probably has the best method actors cooking there.
Of course.
So back. I got one more question for you, buddy. Looks like your first thing you ever did was a Sarah Silverman program. I was a big fan of hers and her comedy, and she was linked with Jimmy Kimmel. She had to be a good mentor to you. I mean, she had to really take you on, whatever you were, because she seems like such a great person. I know she's not a great person off the camera. Do you have any memories of working with her?
Yeah, she was just really nice. She was really sweet to me because I was like just a really young kid, and then I wanted to get a picture with her after set, and then I walked out I walked out to where she was, but she was smoking a cigarette, and then she saw me and she went, "Oh shit!" Just throws it, stomps me. That's not me. That's not who I am. I was just really stressed. Oh my god. How are you? And I was like, I'm fine. Like it doesn't bother me. My grandparents smoke, whatever. But like, so yeah, she just got like really like, don't do that. That's bad. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, so she was really sweet, like trying to protect my innocence. So yeah.
Give us one Hangover story. Hangover's another franchise that's just blown up. Give me what you're there. That franchise is just brilliant, and every character, and look at it's done for Bradley Cooper, and it's really launched some careers. Give me one story. Give me one story behind the scenes that we could all laugh at.
With so like what we would have to do is, because like my scene was a flashback scene, so what we did is we would watch them do all of their scenes. Like we would go with them while they did their scenes, and we would have to do it right after them and just do a complete copy. So there was the first there was like one of the first scenes where like they're on the beach, like where they got roofied with the marshmallows and stuff, and I was there with them. They just finished. They were about to do the swap. They were just moving the cameras or whatever, and then Zach Galifianakis comes up to me, and I didn't know what it was, but he handed me a can of chew, and he goes, "Here, go give this to Bradley Cooper." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then I walk up to him, I go, "Here, this is for you." And he goes, Hey, buddy, how'd you fucking get that? All right. And then he like walks up to Zach and he goes, you don't give that to a kid. Why would you do that? He goes, it was funny. Like so Zach's yeah, he's hilarious. He's kind of like his characters in real life. It's just like, but it was funny. Like
That's
great shirt, by the way, for our business. Great shirt. That's you got.
Yeah, actually, show that. What does it say on there? Because I can't see it that well.
It says, "Careful, man. I got a beverage. There's a beverage here."
There you go. Beautiful. It should have had Fish's picture on it.
Got this for my 21st, actually. Yeah.
All righty. All right. Good stuff. Hey, we've been talking to Aiden Minks, the co-star of the top Netflix show Cobra Kai. He's also been in the movie Ted, starring Mark Wahlberg and Giovanni Ribisi. Aiden was also known as Angus Chestnut on the Ant Farm, and he also starred in Hangover 2. Aiden, hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. We got to have you back on again. If you got anything new coming up, tell us what it is. We'd love to hear about it.
Gotcha, of course. Thank you for having me. And just working on season 5 should be coming out sometime next year or like the end of this year. But yeah.
All right. Enjoy it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You have a good one.
All right. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
Aiden Minks, everybody. Man, that was great. All right. Coming up, Fish and I are going to wrap things up and give you a sneak peek of what's coming up as well. I want you to check out Miracle Flights. They provided free flights for those needing life-changing medical care not available in their own community. I've seen it happen with a lot of folks since 1985. They provided more than 127,000 free flights. If you get a chance, go to miracleflights.org. They are in Las Vegas, and they are a great organization. All right, Fish, I got to tell you, that was, and we lost Ricky Williams, but he's coming on next week. And it was so great to get Aiden. Oh, my God, this was so cool. And if you think about it, you said it at the beginning. This is a guy, this is a kid who's on, he's 21, not a kid anymore. But he's on probably the top show on Netflix.
And he's a great kid. Just a great kid. Humble.
Yeah.
Parents are great. You're going to work between, and he's learning what it's like, to live a life. And he's got a great career ahead of him because of his humbleness, and he's talented. And it's great. I'll be able to tell my grandkids, hey, I worked with this kid when he was 21. Maybe I could teach him how to bartend. That'd be great. He's got the personality for it. He's a great kid. And again, I mean, the spectrum of this show with the guests we're getting from Ken Lakin, who's a powerful attorney who predicted what would happen with the virus, to the Doug Flynn's and Johnny Bench's stars of baseball, Bryan Cranston and O'Hurley, just great actors. Get a young kid like this. First of all, we've had a young kid actor on there, and that really energizes me. And then we got Ricky Williams on next week, and then tell us about this new Hollywood segment. We're actually gonna do a live feed with Heidi Holliker next Wednesday. Talk about it.
Yeah, Heidi is, and you've seen her on the show with us before. She was one of the stars of Valley Girl back in the 1980s. She's still very active in Hollywood as a producer and somebody working behind the scenes. And so we ended up talking to her, and she's got great insight into a lot of things that are going on, things that maybe you're not even going to hear in Variety or a Hollywood Reporter. She's going to have access to a lot of that that's happening there. So what we're finding is we've got our binge watching thing. We're going to hand that off to her and get you guys more involved of what's coming up and what's happening there. So we can tie in, again, we're going to tie in the sports with the entertainment. And we're just, I mean, she's nutty like you and I are. I mean, she's got a great sense of humor. And at the same time too, she's got insights and also connections, kind of like what we have in sports that, most people don't have. So that's why we think we're getting successful here. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. John, we have a few minutes to kill here. And, one thing we've talked about, and we talk almost every day, John and I are friends. You all know that. We've been doing this 10 months now. We have a lot of political discussions, and we talk about that Daly Fish is something to lighten up your day. But we're worried about what goes on in the world. And I can make fun of, the fact, and it's true, there's more male brides that come from Ukraine than anywhere, and they're gorgeous. John's been
Russia has quite a few as well.
Right. And they're beautiful people. And we're concerned what's going on. And John made a great point to me the other day. And I don't want to get a little bit sour on anything, but he goes, I'm more worried about the Chinese going into Taiwan because that could screw up Daly Fish. The Taiwan's the number one supplier of chips that go in your computer, go in your car. And I want to know, I'm going to ask John this because we have 4 minutes. Why aren't we making these goddamn things? You know, we want to build. The part that we learned during the pandemic was let's stop relying on other countries. Stop looking at your underwear and saying, you know, made in Japan or made everywhere else or whatever you're made. You're made in, you know, made in Colombia. We need things made here, John. And when we start doing political stuff, you're the guy. You have your history of doing this on the air. Why haven't we done that here?
Well, first, let me say, when you look in your underwear, you're not looking at the tag. So just so people know that. So, but I think it's beginning to happen. I think we're beginning to understand that now, especially with what's going on in Taiwan. You're beginning to see a lot of investment. You're beginning to see Intel and other companies like that are putting new factories in places like Ohio, Tennessee, and Kentucky. So that's beginning to happen. The problem is that the Taiwanese make such great chips, and so our fear is um, if China moves in there, they're going to control what goes on in Taiwan. So that could have a big effect on our economy. And we're seeing a slowdown in the supply chain as it is for cars and everything else. And so a lot of it has to do with the chips. And then also, you're worried about China controlling the raw materials that go into those chips or the different mechanisms that actually help you either make them or what they may use for an electric vehicle. And that's coming up really soon. So there's some interesting things. And you and I talked about in the Olympics what's going to happen in Ukraine.
Right.
Could there be an invasion? And I know we were talking about what are the odds of that. I think right now, I think the odds are a little bit more in favor of Russia going into Ukraine as opposed to China going into Taiwan. That doesn't mean they won't, but if I had to take hardlines stance, if I had to choose one or the other, I think it's going to be more Russia going into Ukraine rather than China going into Taiwan right away. And that's the other thing too. We're watching the Olympics, and I gotta think some of that's hanging over the viewers and hanging over the people that are there. If I was an Olympic athlete, I'd be a little jittery.
I wouldn't. I don't. Now they don't want that kind of publicity. I don't think. No. I think you hit the nail on the head during the grind. We talked about it. Is that what a horrible gamble it was, and we're all about the prop bets to put this thing on during when the championship games. It starts right after that. Unbelievable championship games.
Yeah.
Again, the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl week. Everyone's talking about the Super Bowl. This Brian Flores thing comes out, and we're an instant gratification nation. We use our phones, and there's no big names in this. There's no names. There's no Dan Jensen. There's no Harding. There's no American Olympic team. It's Shaun White, who's made it known, and every time he's on camera, he doesn't want to be there. Because it's not fun. It's not fun. So we're not enamored with the Olympics because there's no buzz. I use this terminology. There's no buzz about it, and it carried over. And you sent me a text. It's the lowest rated Olympics of all time. Yeah. Olympics. I think it's going to carry over.
Yeah.
All right. So take us out. Go ahead.
I'm going to take us out, but you mentioned the Brian Flores thing. Certainly, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on with the NFL and the coaching. We're going to talk about definitely next week as well. And also, we're going to have Ricky Williams here. That'll be after the Super Bowl. So make sure to tune in. And remember, Daly Fish is live from Vegas and Myrtle Beach. You can catch us on Facebook at daily.fish.5. You can also catch us on Facebook on the Myrtle Beach Golf Channel and Myrtle Beach Grand Strand Life. Also on DBNA Television, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire. We're on DBNA Television Network, dbnatelevision.com. And we're also on YouTube as well. You can watch us there. And again, next week, we're on here Wednesday. Next week, it'll be Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And again, we got Ricky Williams, football star and entrepreneur, who's going to talk about a lot of different things. So we're really excited about that. Now, hopefully we didn't cause any problems with anybody because we did pitch Ricky Williams for today. Ricky Williams will be next week, next Tuesday. So we appreciate folks that have stuck with us, even though it's Wednesday and we're usually on a Tuesday. So hopefully they stick with us. But a lot of fun. Fish, we've already got 42 shows under our belt.
Can you imagine being Aiden Minks and being that young and having social media and having all those girls on this Instagram account? I can't,
No, that was an
when we
Indian.
were younger, guys 21, you had to go to a bar to meet a girl. This guy just looked at his phone, and 80-year-olds are after him. I got to go.
And he's a great kid on
Great
top
kid.
of it.